put in the that should be the latest one. But not, he just literally 5 minutes before the show you. He said, I just had a tweet on this week, and that had more to do with, I think, the play before than me. But, so I don't think we're going to run any comments, but just in case in about 2 or 3 days, just leave that and then you go. Okay? Okay. Hey, really great meeting you, and good luck, and I can't wait to work with you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so story time. Kids, one time I was at an event. All the time. I've always been at events in time. And this particular time, at a quote-unquote event, I was talking to a friend of mine. I don't know if you find this sometimes in the world. People say scripts of stuff they're sure about, and that you feel certain actually isn't quite true. But it sounds good, perhaps, maybe. In this case, it sounded good, but bless me. From what I heard on the Andrew Huberman podcast, which probably lots of people who are friends of mine have heard of the Andrew Huberman podcast. He's a very distinct scientist. So my friend said these things about some psychoactive plant medicines, plants of power. And they're cool things to say. They're common to say. A lot of my friends say them. But distinctly, it's not quite true, actually. I think, according to, people who, actually more study that, and I think are more legitimate scientists, like this guy, Andrew Huberman. So anyway, I may, if the timing's right, say something about those scripts that are being said when they're being said sometimes. But also, it might not be time to, there might not be space to. I might just be like, I gotta go, I can't say, hey, actually, can I sit down with you and tell you about how for 10 minutes is actually blah, blah, blah. And the reason I think that is because da-da-da, and I know I don't know, but this guy probably does know, and da-da-da. And if you checked it out, you might see that it's not exactly the way you thought it was, and that's a common script, and it's cute, and it's cool, and there's, cool symbolism behind it, this idea that this guy had about plant medicine specifically. Plants of power, psychoactive plant medicine. And so anyway, this guy, though, the interesting thing about him is that he knows things that hardly anybody knows, though. This guy that was saying these scripts, they were quote unquote just scripts. Just, quote unquote, the word just. It's a weird word. This guy who was saying those scripts, though, he definitely knows things that I don't know. He teaches things to people that they're cool things. I want to take a course from him. He has people doing superhero feats within 3 or 4 days, literally superhero feats. I don't want to give any more away about who this specific person is, but if he's watching, he knows. And he's awesome. And he's dope. But, so he definitely knows a lot of things. But he was saying this sort of script about how there's this kind of goodness or something that's supposed to be psychoactive plants. By the way, I'm not saying I'm against them, that's for sure. I'm definitely not. But it's not exactly distinctly true. It's did you know that, I don't know, people just say stuff they don't know. They're just scripts that they picked up. I'm trying to think of a good example. Someone tells me in the store, let's say I'm going to buy some tea called Tuan tea or something like that. Or did you know that Tuan tea only grows in the province of, eastern China, blah, 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 this small town? And now I think I know something, but somebody just told me something. I don't know, And so this happens a lot in social situations. And this happened at this event that I was at a time, in an event. This guy who knows a ton more about some things than me, really cool things too, really, really super dope things, said these things that I'm pretty sure aren't true compared to how Dr. Andrew Huberman tells us they are. So anyway, I just kind of nodded, sort of, okay, yeah. Oh, I've heard that. That's interesting. I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. That's interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. And then, I never corrected him on it or something like that. There wasn't the right timing. But later, with this same person, he and I were talking more about power plants, psychoactive power plants. And he was telling me that I was saying that most of the power plants that people are used to, they're, what do they call it? They're tryptamines, basically, which means they run very similar pathways in the mind. This is the typical things of plant medicines: the ayahuascas, the mushrooms, the DMT, and the LSD. To tell you the truth, run very similar pathways in the mind, according to people that told me this. And I think there are people who know. And they certainly have similar kind of feelings compared to peyote actually, or San Pedro, which are both the psychoactive ingredient of those, is called mescaline. So I was like, the people were talking about the effects of these things on us and stuff, and I mentioned how actually mescaline is an amphetamine, and he said, no, it's not. I was like, I think it is. He's like, no, it's not. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it is. Like, I maybe I'm wrong. I know I might be. And I was like, let's look it up. Let's see. Let's agree. If I'm wrong, what I promise I'll do is I'll just shrug and be like, oh, I guess I was wrong. And how about you? What are you going to do? He was like, yeah, I'll shrug. So, or maybe, I don't remember how it came about. Maybe somebody asked us, okay, what if you're wrong? What are you going to do? I think somebody in the group asked us. There was people listening to our conversation. I was like, I got a deal. How about we shrug? We'll shrug. If we're wrong, we'll just go, huh, I guess I was wrong. Isn't that cool? What a cool tool. So if you're wrong, you know, if you're like, hey, this is what I think. I really think this. I'm pretty sure I was right about like mescaline is an amphetamine. And, I actually don't know what that means, though, other than the fact that it's a bit more stimulating for the body than the tryptamine. And that I think it takes the body a little more while to figure out what to do with it. So in that way, it's a little less like DMT is like metabolized by the body, like boom, you know, like it's processed. So I know amphetamines aren't like that or something. I was like, I'm pretty sure they're amphetamine, you know, and again, I don't know much about what that means other than what I just said, but he's like, no. And then I was like, let's see. I think I'm right. I think you think you're right? Yeah. Let's see. And I think someone said, so what are you going to do if you're wrong? I was like, I got it. How about you just shrug? I'll shrug if I'm wrong. What do you want to shrug if you're wrong? Yeah. So he shrugged, you know, he was incorrect about that specific. So anyway, it's a cool ground to set when you think you're right about something. Hey, but I know I might be wrong, according to what the internet says, you know, which is supposedly true. And I know I don't know, though, even that, actually. But anyway, that's what I got to say. Much love, y'all. Enjoy.